The Rise of the Ogre. Episode 3. Read by Joss Ackland. Russell Hobbs, Awaking the Slumbering Giant.
My first encounter with Murdoch was really when the bag went over my head. He asked me for some obscure 50s record, and I turned around and looked for it. I was working behind the counter at Big Rick Black's record shack in London Soho area. I had my back turned to him for just a moment. That's when he slipped the sack over my head and bundled me out of the shop. It wasn't until it came off I found myself at Kong Studios and Murder Nichols was my assailant. But the music he played me was good enough to keep me there.
Enter Russell Hobbs, the hip-hop heartman from the US of A. If 2D was the looks, Murdoch the brains, then Russell truly was the heart. While Murdoch and 2D were into music, this dude Russell was a musician whose knowledge of sound spanned the globe. Trouble, however, had always followed Russell Hobbs around.
I heard about this hip-hop maestro Hobbs,
says Murdoch.
A one-man rhythm king who'd been possessed by the ghosts of his dead friends. I mean, come on, how much press is that going to get you? Eh? I mean, he's got everything, isn't it? Hip-hop, the undead, rapping spirits, deportation, and a devastating drummer all rolled into one big royalty check. No, baby, the second I heard about Russell Hobbs, I knew he was going to be in my band, whether he liked it or not.
Russell, born in Brooklyn, New York City, June the 3rd, 1975, had been sent to England for his own safety, after all of Russell's friends were suddenly gunned down one night in a drive-by shooting. He recounts the tale in his deep, slow, East Coast drawl.
It's all so vivid. The sound of the car coming around the back of us. Me and my friends were parked outside a 7-Eleven store. It was raining real hard. We was minding our own business, the Humvee. Big black Humvee kind of crawled around the back of the vehicle. And we just knew this was trouble.
Go on, what happened next?
Starts 2D. Murdoch looks at 2D and rolls his eyes. 2D's heard this story 50, 60 times, and Murdoch knows it. He throws a hefty phone book at 2D, hitting him squarely on the back of the head.
Oi! Rain Man, why don't you go and memorize this?
Getting Russell to go through this again was like sitting in on some tedious old fart's therapy session.
Gangbangers,
Russell continued.
The truck was full of them, all wearing red hoodie tops, apart from one. His hoodie was black, the face completely in shadow. Then we noticed the barrel tips, just poking through the window. They opened fire and the night sky was ablaze. The gunfire from the Uzi just lit up the place. My friend Dale died instantly. The others, well, died apart from me. For some reason, the bullets never hit me.
That's really strange.
Now, you may have noticed that actually a lot of what happens to us isn't exactly normal, moron.
Slaps Murdoch. Russell's still with the story.
But from where I lay on the floor of the truck, I could see his face. The one with the black hood. It was Death himself, incarnate. The Grim Reaper. Yo, that means he's gonna stay with me forever, dog. Immediately, that's when all these spirits, the ghosts of my dead, departed friends, all entered my body. Like they was being sucked up. Like sheets being sucked up into a vacuum cleaner. Bam, bam, whoosh, bam. Straight into me.
The process of possession turned Russell's eyes a permanent frosted milky white. It also gave Russell his exceptional music skills, the friends in question being the ones he had made after his first brush with the demonic underworld, all musical supremos to a man.
Dale, he was my true soulmate, my friend, my brother. When he was killed, his spirit took residence inside me. He became the ghost rapper who appeared on the Clint Eastwood record. But I've always been the receptacle for wayward spirits, demon apparitions.
Well, Russell,
chirps Murdoch,
that's probably because of the size of vacant real estate you offer.
I think it's more that I guess I kind of vibrate at that frequency.
You what?
I originally used to go to private school in New York, the Xavier School for Young Achievers. But I was removed from there by the faculty governors after an incident in which some of the other graduates were horribly mauled. Unknown to me at the time, I was already possessed by a demon, and a big one, too. One night in the campus dormitory, apparently I swelled up to twice my size and went on a rampage, picked up some of the kids and threw them around like dolls. I wouldn't have believed it was me if I hadn't seen the Russell Hobbs was here sign, scrawled in blood, in the school hall. It was definitely my signature.
Murdoch is shaking his head.
Oh, you're such a crackpot, Hobbs, you know that.
Take it easy, Muds, or I'm gonna pound your Brooklyn style. Anyhow, I was expelled from school, but the possession and anxiety sent me into a coma. I was unconscious for about 4 years until Father Marion exorcised the demon from my soul. That's when I came round.
The demon finally vanquished, Russell came to after 4 years in the comatose state. Unfortunately, his old school refused to take him back.
That's when I went to Brooklyn High School and met my new crowd. There were street musicians, rappers, DJs, and MCs. I learned so much so fast. Hip-hop saved my life, my soul.
But this honeymoon period was not to last. The drive-by massacre not only killed his crew, but also sealed his fate. His parents shipped him off to England, to his uncle's home in Belsize Park, and to what they imagined would be a relative safety.
I was sent here to convalesce, to recover and unwind.
But you didn't count on me tracking you down, though, did you, mate? Oh, hey, Russ, didn't think that would happen, did you?
Among Russell's personal belongings that were shipped over was one that was to become a mainstay of the Gorillaz' sonic arsenal, the legendary hip-hop machine.
That box contains every beat known to man. The thing's irreplaceable. It's the TARDIS of the hip-hop world. Its rhythms span both time and history, right across the universe. Never mess with that machine. It'll eat you whole.
As the big man says, the machine is a towering hybrid of every drum machine, beatbox, rhythm track, breakbeat, and sample ever created. The fact that it also contains the souls of many drummers that roll endlessly around its circuits, well, you can see why the box is so highly coveted. Now, you can't buy that kind of equipment out of the back of Exchange and Mart, can you? With the inclusion of Russell in the band, Gorillaz' stock became boosted no end. He brought with him a love of hip-hop, funk, dub, world music, krautrock, and more. From big band, bluegrass, and booty bass, to jazz, ska, white noise, and reggae, his knowledge was infinite. More than this, his education and schooling in New York brought an understanding of the arts and literature, a tuition that spanned Busted to Basquiat to Bukowski. It's an overused term, but it would be possible to describe Russell as a true Renaissance man, though I'm not sure exactly what that really means.
It pertains to the Renaissance period, when a gentleman was expected to have a whole breadth of knowledge and talents in a wide range of fields. Unlike polymaths, who are people who excel in many fields, I'm a cross between the two. I'm a jack of all trades, but a master of drums.
What more could you ask for?
A decent guitarist?
And the only weak link did appear to be Paula, the guitar player.
Paula was the girl who played guitar for us early on. 2D had been seeing her. But she, well, it didn't really work out in the band, you know.
After Russell joined the band, Paula, 2D's girlfriend at the time, was drafted in to play guitar. But one night, Russell found both Murdoch and Paula up to no good together in the toilet at Kong.
Cubicle number 3, I seem to recall,
says Murdoch. For this gross act of disloyalty, Russell broke Murdoch's nose a further 5 times, giving us the grand total of 8 fractures that afflict his mangled hooter today. Paula Cracker, Gorillaz' first guitarist, tells her side of the story.
Well, I've been seeing Stewpot for about 2 months. I played a bit of guitar and used to buy strings from the shop he worked in. He was very sweet. A bit thick, though. He said that he was going to be a singer in this band, yeah? They didn't have a name yet. And I thought, yeah, I heard it all before. Still, I went down to Kong Studio to check them out, and I ended up playing with them. But when I saw Murdoch, with his thick, greasy hair, green teeth and yellow skin, I thought, oh, he's the one for me.
Paula becomes increasingly more animated. Maybe she's on some sort of medication.
Oh, he's such a dandy, like Errol Flynn or something. But after that thing in the toilets, they kicked me out, bastards. But I never heard from Murdoch again, and my purse was gone. Since then, they've become this big, massive band, so I guess I was pleased for them. But it also kind of makes me feel really, sick. In the head. Like I want to hurt people. They tried to write me off the story of Gorillaz, but I was the guitarist way before that noodle. I've got half a mind to hunt them down and start screwing with their heads.
I think she is on medication. 2D seems hurt.
I can't believe you did that, Murdoch.
I did you a favour, mate. She was a rubbish-looking bird. Seriously, she looked like Grayson Perry or something. The best shot of her. You are.
It's just the principle.
Look. She was depressingly ugly. Easily enough to put you off your dinner. I mean, you should thank me. Anyhow, on with the show.
So where were we? Oh yes, 1 step forwards, another one back. The still embryonic Gorillaz needed to find that missing link. Time to think fast. In time-honored tradition, Murdoch placed an ad in the back pages of the weekly musical institution that is the NME.
I read the wordings for the advert down the phone.
Recalls Murdoch.
Global phenomenon, seek guitarist for world domination, blah, 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 GSOH required. No hippies, etc., etc. No sooner had I put the phone down, there was a knock at the door. I opened the door, and no one there.
In the deserted hallway stood only a 10-foot-high freight container marked FedEx. Murdoch pushed the crate into the middle of the room, when out from the box sprung Noodle. All 3'2" of her.
I've got to admit, I wasn't really expecting that.
Says 2D.
We heard a knock at the studio door, and there's this big box there, and out jumped a small Japanese person, carrying a Les Paul. I couldn't make out a word she was saying. It's just gibberish. But then she unleashed a massive guitar riff, what sounded like 200 demons screaming in Arabic. It was brilliant. She ended it with a 20-foot-high karate jump. She bowed and just said one word. Noodle.
That was it. The position was taken, and my group was complete. You could feel electricity running right through the four of us. Actually, I took great joy in telling all the other knobheads who turned up for the job to sling their hooks.
The band changed their name to Gorillaz. A legend is born.
We weren't really Gorillaz until Noodle arrived.
Corrects 2D before Murdoch puts it straight.
Well, we went through quite a lot of names. I thought, seeing as musically I wanted to swing through the jungle bearing my arse, I just thought Gorillaz was the perfect name.
Noodle was the spirit and the joy. Even her amnesia and total lack of knowledge of her past could not cause a ripple to the joyful approach she took to life. Her presence perfectly balanced the exceptional individual components of this extraordinary group. Russell argues,
Despite the language problem, you picked up pretty fast that Noodle was into music in a real way. She fitted right in. Her guitar skills were phenomenal, and she gave off pure love. The fact that she had the ability to laugh at Murdoch really helped too.
Gorillaz are alive. And so to work. The band embarked on a relentless series of rehearsals, working deep in the belly of Kong. They cemented their sound almost immediately, recording themselves as they went. The very first track to materialize was an exhilarating gem named Ghost Train, a runaway juggernaut of a track and proof positive of the undeniable magic that this foursome possessed. Based around a sample from the Human League Sound of the Crowd, and featuring some incomprehensible rap from 2D, the track was an absolute barnstormer, and enough to get the major labels salivating uncontrollably.
I ran down to Snappy Snaps, bought a disposable camera, I fired off a couple of pics of the band, put them, the Ghost Train track, and a quick manifesto together, and posted the package off to Smithy over at EMI. I included a little note, just to let him know that we were coming. And in the note, it said, don't be a mug all your life. If you bungle this, you're going to feel like a dick. I booked a gig, do yourself a favour, and get yourself down there. I'm throwing you a rope here, Sonny. Don't louse it up. Sign us up, and you can sit on your arse for the rest of your life. Yeah, well, you know what I mean. You've got to set your stall up early, haven't you? Establish the relationship early on. I was right. So there you go. Gorillaz were to become the assassins of useless celebrity. A line was finally being drawn, and these people had to decide which side of it they wanted to be on. Embrace the future or drown in the past. Your choice.
It did seem to do the trick. The phone started ringing immediately. Things were really picking up. Every day was just another brilliant day. I met this girl from S Club 7, Rachel Stevens, and we started going out together. She was really nice.
What does the S stand for?
2D throws a look over to Murdoch. Murdoch winks. 2D looks down. More trouble, no doubt.
I don't know, but anyway, I invited her down to the gig we were doing at the Camden Brown House. It was our first gig, so we were going to pull out all the stops.
The Camden Brown House was a notorious venue that every no-hoper and junior never-will-be always played. But Gorillaz were different. Even on their first gig, the energy and confidence was spectacular. Heavy-duty welding glasses were handed out at the door for the audience's own safety. To stare directly at the blazing sensation of Gorillaz in full flow was to take one's eyesight in your own hands. They were that brilliant, see?